In this video, I'm going to break down one of my beats in the style of legendary producer OZ. And I'm also going to show you how you can create pockets in your beats, which makes it very easy for artists to rap on your stuff. But yeah, let's not waste any time and hop right into FL Studio. Okay, so the first thing I started with was the sample chop. I just went to TrackClip, downloaded a song that I like, and then I just dragged it into Serato Sample. And then what I did in Serato is I took out the drums with the integrated stem separator, then I pitched it down 5 semitones. And what I always like to do when I bring in new samples to Serato is I click this Find Samples knob, which automatically sets the slices in the sample, and then I just play around with my MIDI keyboard to come up with some cool chops. So this is the first chop I came up with. That's the second one. And a third one. And so as you can see, it's actually very simple. All the sample chops are just one note that loops for 2 bars. So then I went on to making the drums. And what I usually do when I start making my drums is I'm listening to the sample and see what kind of rhythm or what kind of pockets the sample already creates. So I can then fit my drums to the rhythm of the sample. In this case, the sample was pretty simple. There weren't a lot of rhythms going on, which gave me a lot of freedom to try out some unique bounces with my drums. So I started with this simple snare here. Then I added the hi-hat. And when I make my hi-hats, I usually like to not overcomplicate it. I like to add some pitch variations at the end of every 2 bars. And there's really not a lot of science that goes into making hi-hats. I like them to be repetitive, like I don't change them up too much. A lot of the times I make my hi-hats in 2 bars and then just copy and paste it over. Once I had the hi-hat and the snare, I like to add an 808 or a kick drum. And this is what the 808 sounds like. So it's actually just playing the root note of the sample, which is D, and I always like to add these variations at the end of every 2 bars. There's just an F and the G, which is also in the scale of D minor. And then once I'm done with the hi-hat, snare, and 808s, the beat should already sound pretty decent. So everything I start adding afterwards should just complement the groove and not fill up too much space. Then I added this hi-hat. And then 3 percussion sounds that add this very unique kind of drum bounce. And so what's very important when creating pockets in your beats is that all the drum elements complement each other and create a certain rhythm. And this is exactly what this pattern does. And as you can see, there's always parts in this 4-bar loop where there's a lot of stuff going on and all the percussion and drum sounds go back and forth with each other. And then there's also parts where there's a lot of space where there's not that much going on. And this makes it very easy for artists to find spaces in between your drum hits where their flows and vocals can fit into. And so yeah, this is again what the full beat sounds like. So yeah, that's it with the breakdown. I hope you learned something new. And if you need more help with creating beats that artists actually want to use and you can sell online, then just DM me the word coaching on Instagram and let's have a chat and see if I can help you out. See you there.